This conference will now be recorded.
Order. Let's do a roll call from my right.
Jackie Bauer.
Eric Kitchen.
Carmen Smith.
Never heard. David Parmalee.
Scott Shibby.
And then on the line, we have
Travis.
Travis.
It's me.
I know he was on mute in the airport trying to save.
First item up is the approval of the meeting minutes. So I think we're caught up with the exception of last month's meeting, which is September 23rd, 2025. Anybody have a chance to review it? If so, any comments, corrections, deletions, edits? Hearing none, we'll accept the meeting minutes in as approved. Thank you for staff. I don't believe we have any concept plans.
Not.
So the first item up under the preliminary plans, site plan would be the Fletcher's Grove Dean North.
Dean North, the subdivision for Dean North, they submitted a series of plans. These are before you. We've reviewed them on a couple of occasions. We provided them our engineer's response along with some other concerns that the planning commission had with drainage. This project is on hold right now until we schedule a meeting with the developer and the two property owners that are directly affected by those connections. So we had a Teams meeting with Jim Draper, the developer, the engineer, myself, and the town engineer. And we all decided, look, everything is dependent upon how we get the flow from this upper area down to the system. So we can talk about all kinds of designs, but until we talk to these two residents and sit down with them and come up with a solution, it really doesn't matter. So I offered to send a letter to request a meeting because I thought it would be better coming from the town. We received the site plan, we've got this information, we'd like to sit down and talk with you, so we're trying to get that meeting scheduled. So it's on the agenda that it's an open site plan under review, but until we sit down with those residents and come up with some ideas, the whole project kind of, that's the linchpin. I mean, you have to have that to be able to do everything else. So I just wanted to give you all that update. Hopefully by next month, we'll have the meeting and have some additional information for.
So how much are we giving the residents the ability to input? I mean, we're gonna be providing them some suggestions, recommendations.
Yes, we have some suggestions on how we can do this.
Okay.
There's some ideas about actually widening the pond and making it less deep. So the rule that's driving all of this is in the state of Maryland, when you have a certain depth of a stormwater management pond, it gets classified as a dam. And then there has to be all this additional engineering to verify that if the dam breaks, what's going to happen. One solution is to widen the pond and not make it as deep and not even trigger the dam because you're not holding back that much water. But once again, until we talk to these people, either one of those scenarios, it's a couple of different scenarios we want to propose to them. So what are they willing to do? What are they not willing to do, et cetera? Remember, there are easements through both their properties. We have an easement to connect to this. It's not that there's not a way to get there. They have to grant an easement. It's how do we make this work and avoid any problems and address any concerns these people would have? Because where they're tying into is in the back of these people's yards. And these people have been maintaining their yards. They certainly want to know what it's going to look like, how to address it. Is it going to be pipes under the ground? Is it going to be structure up above the ground? We can do it both ways. But what do the residents prefer? What do they want? What's going to make the best solution? So just giving you an update on that, and that will stay that way until we get some movement and some agreement on a solution.
Well, thank you. Any movement on the second access point?
Yes. So they responded to the town's comments. Here is the revised site plan.
Dean North.
Travis, I know you can't see me walking around, buddy. I'm sorry. You'll just have to indulge me here for a minute. So this, if you recall, this is J6 Boulevard right here.
Yep.
There's Tiger Way.
Yep.
Coming up here. There's Ringley Drive. They kept trying to ask for an entrance or write out something. I said, no, it's a collector road, no. You you've got an entrance here, you've got an entrance here, you're fine. And so that's what's been submitted. So they've taken that piece away. So this gives basically a layout of what this will look like. We've already put in the turn lanes here. We did that this past spring. So there's a way for them to get in here, then they will be making an intersection across from Antietam Spirits here. They've submitted all their grease trap information, their traffic counts, number of spaces, square footage. This is all within our zoning standards and requirements. The only thing that is not addressed on this that we have not talked about, and I have not seen it on this review, we should talk about hours of operation. And the reason I say that is if you don't put it on the site plan and you start having problems, you have nothing that states what their hours of operation were going to be. That's the only thing that I saw on the secondary review that I think we should probably ask to address, hours of operation. I mean, they can certainly provide us what the hours of operation would be, but I think the planning commission should look at that. Do I think this is going to be a 24-hour McDonald's? No, I don't think it doesn't have that kind of traffic around here. Heck, the light at Chase 6 Boulevard blinks after what, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something? I mean, it's not going to be a 24-hour store, but by the same token, we want to know what the hours are, because that's going to be something that the residents are going to ask. How long is this thing open? When is this open from when to when? I know McDonald's has standard hours that you see everywhere and things like that, but I think we should put it on the site plan, just so that it's clear as what their hours of operation are. Does anybody?
Drew,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
we roll in the sidewalks at 10 o'clock every night, so.
That is true.
That's standard McDonald's hours.
5 in the morning, I think.
Yeah, it's like 5 to 11.
That's it.
Even at 5, the lights are blinking, they don't stop until like 6.
Yeah, and I don't, again, early morning is not the big concern in that area. First of all, it's own general commercial, and AC&T, they're up early. I think they're in there at like 3:30, 4 o'clock.
They used to be
They used to be.
24 hours. So are they back 24?
No, they're.
Still.
Yeah.
I think their pumps are open. You can go in there if you've got a car and use the pumps, but you can't go into the store. So, I mean, again, if it's not a concern to you all, that's fine. They'll post their normal hours. There's nothing in the general commercial zoning that requires the hours to be posted. I just think, just from experience, when things go sideways with site plans and you're looking to hold somebody and you're having problems there, having that kind of detail does help.
And to alleviate a lot of this as we grow, as we know we're growing, we should put it in our zoning.
So you're anticipating potential concerns down the road without having this on the plan. If they are open past 11 and there's problems, we can force them to go back to their planned hours of closing at 11 or 12.
What's the Arizona pizza shop up on the hill? Bland?
Domino's, it's delivered until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Again, it's not a requirement in the general commercial. The question that I'm asking is that it's something that, 2 reasons. One, it lets everybody know who lives around it, what the hours of operation are going to be. That's a general thing that everybody should know, I think, in general. The second reason is that when you do run into enforcement actions, the more information you have that tells them their hours of operation, where their things are going to be, how often they empty their grease trap, that only helps you. That only helps you.
I guess I'm not against it, so.
And if you build it, they will come. People will start using that McDonald's, and as Hagerstown gentrifies, they're expanding out this way too.
I don't think, I won't be able to do 24/7, but that's just me.
We don't know that. We don't know that,
I don't think I would for that McDonald's. I just don't think that.
but
Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, the question I have is if they put their hours of operation on their site plan, what if in, a few months they say, hey, look, we're staying up till too late, we need to change it an hour here or an hour there. Do they have to come back to us to make changes to their hours of operation, or are they free to do what they need to do based on their business levels?
They would be required to follow the site plan. So yes, if they want to change their hours of operation, they would have to come back before the planning commission and just basically request an amendment to the hours of operation to the site plan. It could be a fairly simple request, but that would be the process if we put it on here.
Well, if we put it on here in that way,
Yeah, 10-4.
does language matter though? Could it be put on the site plan in a way that they're not going to open prior to 5 AM or stay open later than 11? And that way, if they wanted to do 6 to 10, they don't have to, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that could be done.
When you list the hours of operation, that's it.
Okay,
That you just, if you're outside those hours, there's the problem.
okay, got it.
So the question on the commission is, do we want hours on the plan? Are there any objections to put hours on the plan?
Are you treating them different than other businesses?
What's that?
Are you treating them different than other business? Why do
Yes.
they, so they have to, if you don't have it for Domino's or the liquor store or any others, you're gonna treat them different than,
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking if the planning commission wants to start putting hours of operation on site plans for commercial establishments. I think it's a good idea. Jackie talks about, putting it in the code and making it a requirement. That, again, we could go down that road, but my question is for this, do you want to put the hours of operation on it? And I think, based on the fact that Brian's here, because of concerns that happen around him, I think just makes the point even stronger that putting it on there, and it is a change, Brian, it absolutely is a change, but it's a change that I think the town needs to do as we grow to make sure that we're kind of managing what's going on, and you don't end up with 20 places that are all 24 hours in the middle of the neighborhood.
or are they grandfathered in? I guess that's kind of my question. Are you segmenting something out, or are we saying on to go forward, you're gonna make, everybody's gonna have to do this? Because you have existing businesses that have no rules or guidelines, right? And then you're gonna put something, as of this day, or as of new development after this day.
Well, we're not telling them when they can be open, we're just saying, put your hours of operation on the plans and we'll approve it.
So if they just say 24 hours, they're covered, they can do whatever.
They can do whatever, but then it raises the question to these people up here, is that an appropriate use in the general commercial zone next to a residential area? And again, that's the only reason I bring it up on this particular one, because it does abut a residential area. I mean, there's a buffer there, I get it, but
I think it's a fair question to ask. Let's see what they say.
you're just saying, please put your hours of operation on the plan.
Well, what are they, and can you put them on the plan? And then share what the hours are, and we can email that around. I don't want to hold the plan up,
No,
but we can email around and we're okay. So it's no issue, right? If it's a 24/7, well then let's stop and let's reconvene.
Well, and that gives you some down the road, if they decide, hey, we're gonna move our hours and they don't tell us and it's not on the plan, then is there an effect in the mornings if people are going in there getting their coffee and their breakfast and the light's not still flashing at 6?
Right.
Now we have reason to say, okay, guys, we probably need to have something done here with the state highway to get this light. I don't think it's unreasonable, I think it's fair.
Can we back up to the light question again? When was the traffic study done? What triggers that? And we already have a situation out there at Chase 6 and 40. There's no left turn lane, there's no left turn signal. Cars are already starting to increase in volume. Unless you're leaving Chase 6 and heading towards alternate 40. And there's no place, there's no outlet for them unless they go right, walk around someplace and turn and come back through. It's like, we're not even pushing to do something with that light. And I don't even know if the hours are gonna make sense if the light goes on flashing with the McDonald's coming in. And then Chase 6 is gonna be open sometime in late fall, hopefully. And that's gonna force even more traffic onto Chase 6.
Yeah, because eventually you're gonna have a green arrow on this side. Because
So
if
what
people are coming
pushes
down
state
6,
highway, what pushes that traffic study?
the town.
What predicates them doing that before there's a problem more than what there is now?
Well, the argument that, are you asking for McDonald's to do a traffic study, or are you saying when does it trigger state highway?
I'm asking more so for state highway because that traffic light needs updated.
They've already agreed, at least according to what Howard told me that State Highway is gonna conduct a traffic study once J6 Boulevard is open through to Mapleville Road, because that will change the traffic pattern.
It's the wrong time.
Okay, well, I mean, it's something the town can certainly push with State Highway.
But it is hard to get a traffic study when there's no road, through road. So I don't disagree that it's not a great time, but you're gonna get better information when it's open.
We couldn't even get them to put a left turn signal in the square. We redid the square, which it desperately needs.
But that was because of physical geometry. That was the only reason why.
No,
The road, fact, the road isn't
no,
wide
it
enough.
wasn't fact. They said there wasn't enough time in the pie.
No,
No,
Was
that-
the
that's
road-
what they're.
the
that's
road
what their
geometry
reason was.
wasn't wide enough curb to curb.
No, that's not what they said. They
All
said
right,
that there wasn't enough.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So I don't think can't hold the site plan up based on the what ifs that are gonna happen at an intersection. I think it opens up, and then if there's an issue, then we deal with it, bring SHA out and plead the case at that point. Because they're not required, can't force McDonald's to do a traffic study. I don't think we can. And why would we?
Well, you could ask them to do a traffic study, but it's all gonna be guesses.
Right.
Because the other road isn't open yet. There's no
There's no action.
defined travel lanes of where people are going. You can make assumptions based on traffic counts on Main Street and Mapleville Road at certain times, and you can make assumptions, and they do that. They spend thousands of dollars and do all kinds of traffic stuff. But the reality is the proof's in the pudding on this one. As soon as that road opens.
Oh, they're gonna need it, they're gonna need it.
Well, and
Although
I
after McDonald goes into that.
I think it's absolutely incumbent for the planning commission to make a recommendation to the mayor and council to reach out to State Highway to start looking at that intersection. Tell them again, tell them the reason why. I mean, planning commission doesn't have to do that. I mean, but, you know, it's just something that,
Without seeing the traffic, we really can't tell you, because more people like me would potentially go the opposite way, go down to the left and go into town as opposed to sitting at the left-hand turn. So it's hard to say until the road's open.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like here, 2 or 3 of us want to wait. You got any reason not to wait?
On which piece?
To approach the town council, to approach the state highway, to start looking at that light.
I think that should start right now because that'll take time. I think we should push the council to do that. All the lights, here.
Carmella?
I guess my thought is that it might take time, but we have no data to support the request right now, so it's not going to go anywhere. They're not gonna make a change on a hypothetical.
That's half the problem we had in here. The state didn't have all the data they needed, and it became a big ugly issue and lasted forever, and we still didn't really get what we wanted.
you know, it's not right, but it's how it works. You can't get money for schools until you overcrowd them. Can't get state highway to do a traffic study if they have a traffic problem. It's wrong, I agree, it's not right, it's not how it should be, but that's how it is.
Yet that said, the way to get the process going is
Start asking.
we want you to know that we are looking at this and we will come to you formally and ask about this. So then they know we're aware of it. Instead of, oh, now they're asking for it, well, it's too late now. Well, we know the, not the political, we know the government. So when things are on fire, it's on the ground.
So Travis, where do you stand? If you can talk.
Yeah, I can talk. Yeah, I think as far as the hours of operation, like, I don't think they're gonna be open longer than they need to be. They're not gonna sit there and hemorrhage hours just to do it. Like, they're just wasting money if they're open hours that they don't need to be open. So I'd say, let's let them tell us what their hours of operation are gonna be. We'll take a look at them. I would imagine they're not past 11 or 12. Just based on, it's also, they kind of don't really know what their like sales per half hour or sales per hour are gonna be until they open. They only have projections. So I think they'll open with whatever it is, and then they'll have to come back and change it based on what they actually see. If they realize they're wasting money by being open, then they'll say, hey, we're gonna change these to close earlier. Or if they realize, hey, we're leaving money on the table, we're packed. And, we could be making money until midnight, then they'll change it, but I think we have to let them see what the demands of the business are gonna allow. But I imagine it's not gonna be very late right there. And then as far as the traffic study, I agree with everybody. You're only gonna get accurate information once that road opens. So, calling in a traffic study on a road that's not open is not gonna give you the results that you probably wanna get, which is to add, to update the light and make it more efficient for travelers.
Okay.
So it's hard to justify changing anything till it changes.
So other than Jackie, I think the majority is wait.
Wait until McDonald's is open.
Then J6 opens.
I would do it. McDonald's is open.
Well,
I come off Tiger Way sometimes on the Chase. I have to wait until that light goes, so I can get into that lane now. Not every day, but I do have to wait.
so we revisit it when McDonald's opens,
That's what I would do.
and then we revisit it when J6 opens. J6, with J6
It's
opens.
gonna add more, right, to what McDonald's now.
Right.
Well, at this point, do we anticipate McDonald's opening before or after Chase 6 goes through?
Before.
Okay.
It won't take long at all, but that,
I didn't think so.
Did they provide any statistics as to what they think they're gonna pull through there?
No, they did, we didn't request any, but they didn't.
That might be something else to put in our zoning, when all these come, because we're gonna have all kinds of commercial stuff come in.
Yeah, you have to, 2 other lots too, right? 2 other commercial
He's
lots.
taken 2.
Oh, they still have signed for 2 still available.
There are still 2 available.
So this is where
Those
Ringley is.
like MLS.
This lot here where the gas tanks are, and this lot here.
Okay.
So they've got to move these tanks over to here for that site plan that you all approved over here. So if you've noticed, there's a lot of guys and a lot of Thompson trucks up here every day because they're getting ready to figure out what
That
they're
would
doing.
Right. So where are the other 2 lots? Right, so you got the 2 and they got the one behind it, right?
Right, big one right here, and then there's one right here.
Right, okay.
They're using a lot of this area for forest, reforest planting. A lot of field farm.
so before we get into, I'm sorry, is that conversation over?
Well, so we're not approving the site plan until we get the hours of operation on, so it'll come back next month. That's what I'm hearing, yes.
I mean, have they asked us to expedite it, or is there a reason? Okay. Because I don't want to have to hold it up. I think we could get it done in between if we had to. Okay. So before we went down that rabbit hole, I'd asked a question about the extra ingress and egress out of Dean North. Right now, we just have the one in and out.
They're looking at it, that they could provide an easement, but again, until they do the design with the storm drain, they're just like, we're not gonna waste our time doing anything until we figure out.
Okay.
But yes,
They're aware of it.
they're aware of it. They don't like it, but yes, they're aware of it. They're gonna have to deal with it.
Okay. Were there any comments, were there any town engineering comments on the McDonald's plan that we need to know about?
The last month, I gave you all the comments from the engineers, the way that they responded. You could see the engineers' comments, and then you can see their responses below. So that's included in your packet. Take time to take a look at it. Next month, we'll get the information with the hours of operation on there. And then you'll have time to look at all these comments and how they addressed them. You can see all those through there, so you guys can take a look. You can look at last month's, and you can see our engineering comments, but like I said, the way they did them, you can see what the engineer's comments was, because they wrote it before they wrote the response.
The other thing, go back and rereading them, did they disagree with anything? Is anything earth shattering, deal killers? Okay.
Nope, they actually made a comment, it's a pretty straightforward plan. Undeveloped land, so they're not dealing with a lot of utilities, a lot of moving of stuff. They said it's pretty straightforward. And it has multiple accesses, which is not usually the case. Right.
Any other comments on McDonald's site plan? Hearing done. Next item up is the ambulance company site plan.
No change there. They submitted a series of plans. We gave them engineering review comments. We're waiting to hear back from their engineer. I don't believe that the ambulance company is in a giant hurry. It's something they've talked about for a long time. I think they've got some movement, and I know Nelson has been dealing with different issues there and trying to get everybody. He basically said it's like trying to herd cats. To get everybody to agree. Because everybody has something they want to spend money on, but there's only so much money. There's never enough money going. They're trying to figure out some things as to what they want to do, what they don't want to do. You all saw the plan. They're still on, I keep them on the agenda because no decision was made. We're waiting for a response back.
Moving through the agenda here, next item up is the comp plan. I know we have a second workshop, well, the next workshop, I don't know if I want to call it second. Next workshop is on the 3rd, next Monday, this coming Monday at 6 p.m. And I sent a message to Drew just earlier this afternoon because I saw the town posted another advertisement of the meeting, and the way they're advertising it is the Wilkes-Barre Planning Commission will be holding their next public meeting to review draft comp plan. So similar wording to last time, and although a lot of residents showed up last time thinking like I read it, that we're going to be presenting it to the town. That's not the intention of the workshop. I mean, this is a workshop. It's not a meeting that we're presenting it to the town. It's not ready yet.
Read that again?
It says the Wilkes-Barre Planning Commission will be holding their next public meeting to review the draft comp plan on Monday. So I think it means the reference that the Planning Commission is having another workshop with our consultants who's been hired to develop the comp plan to further work through the development of the plan, something to that effect. I don't want it to come across that we're presenting a plan that's not done. Those of you here last time on the last workshop, there were a lot of residents that showed up that was expecting a presentation.
I hear what you're saying, David, and you're not wrong, but even in a workshop meeting, like we just had one last night for Madam Council, the public can come and sign up to make comments, so.
I'm not saying you can't come, all I'm saying,
Right. But if we're not going to accept public comments, we should have an agenda and make that clear, I guess, somehow.
Well, we can get public comments, we're not presenting it in a formalized setting. It's not done, we're not presenting it.
That's true.
But anytime we have a meeting, we have to allow for public comment.
I'm not saying no comments, I'm not saying public can't come, all I'm saying is that we want to set the stage where the
I don't think
public.
we have to allow for public comments.
You're right, we don't have to.
No,
allow
we do
for it.
not, but we do need to make it clear.
We need to make
I
it
wasn't
clear.
at the last meeting, but I've heard multiple versions of what happened. And everybody seemed to be in agreement that it needs to be clear up front whether people are gonna be allowed to talk, at what point they can talk, how long they can talk, that kind of thing.
Well,
We do
and-
have to take minutes though, and there does have to be.
We will have an agenda and we'll take
And
minutes.
the meeting was very productive, once we got rid of the individuals who wanted to go down a rabbit hole, talking about a specific developer in town. It's not what that meeting was for. Once that group left, we had meaningful conversation about the comp plan all through it, and they provided great feedback. So I'm not saying no public, I think public has to be here, which is fine. I just don't want them to expect a presentation again.
But we should expect them to expect an agenda.
Right, and that is exactly why I put this on here because it was such an issue, the last one. That's why I said, let's draft what the agenda is right here with the planning commission members and have it stated exactly the way you want it. You can change it tomorrow morning on the website so everybody's crystal clear. My understanding where we left it, we were on the agenda. We're about 2/3 of the way through the chapters on the objectives, and the idea was to finish up with the objectives and then open it up to specific questions that the commission had. Is that what everybody else?
Continue on, not go backwards and start over.
Right, continue on, right, Okay, correct. So we will be reviewing the draft chapters and objectives.
That we didn't get to last meeting.
Can we put specifically what?
Yes, I'll put which chapter.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, so traffic and objectives.
Goals and objectives, I guess, is what they're calling them in the plan, right?
Yes, goals. After goals and objectives, are there specific areas you would like to discuss? Specific items in the comp plan, or do you want to open it up for just discussion points?
Well, is it the right time? I don't know what the right time is. I wanted to ask the contractor in that last meeting, is it typical to get this far through the process without having the public input? And if that's the case, I think I'd like some clarity on how they plan on getting public input.
Okay.
I know we've talked about it, but what is the process to get the public input?
So after review of the goals and objectives for the ones that we have left, discussion of public review, the public review process.
Because we can have a couple.
Yeah, I mean, with his permission, I'd like to know more about how we're gonna get the public input. How's that going to work?
Okay. So the public review process, when do agencies respond? When do residents get to respond? When will that happen?
Agencies is an important part of it.
Right.
That's right.
Because the agent, we have to get an approved plan, we have to submit it to the agencies. That I take care of. The question becomes, from this planning commission, how do you want to do the presentation? Obviously, we'll put it on the website. I got that. Do you want to hold meetings to answer questions, to make a presentation? Do you want to do that of the draft plan and take comments at those meetings? Do you want me to go out like I did at the very beginning and go meet with the fire companies, the ambulance companies, the EDC, the park board, and show them the plan that we came up with? You give me some highlights that we would talk about. You know, I'm just trying to brainstorm some ideas. I'm trying to think of what is a resident going to say that says, I didn't know about this process. How would I have found out about it? Why wasn't I told?
It seems to me that you and the contractors have done good work, a lot of it, but this shouldn't be their first rodeo.
Oh.
I'd like to hear them say what they typically do. They've got to have
They do.
best practices, how to do this.
So we'll have an agenda that says review goals and objectives. Second item on the agenda is the public review process. Is there another particular item you wanted to identify as a specific agenda item for this comp plan workshop?
Will we be allowing public comment or questions now? Or are we not going to allow that right now?
We already have been.
Assume you would continue.
I think we had a really productive meeting last time. I think it would probably be beneficial to still allow people to ask questions, because a lot of the questions were just even clarifying something, right? I'm open to.
What I can do is I can put comments at the bottom of the agenda. That way you all can go through your discussions and then open it up to the public comments and take it from there. That way they do get a chance to comment, they get to hear the whole discussion first.
That's
Maybe,
typical.
right, maybe we answer some questions, maybe we don't, maybe we generate some more, don't know. But maybe just have on the agenda public comments, and that way everybody knows we will take public comments.
So is that how it's going to be formally then, that you guys go through it, and then people in the audience have to wait till the end to talk? Or are you going to do it like you did last time, where you guys are leading the discussion and letting the public, ask questions here and there? I want to be very clear about it so that we're not in the same situation as last time where I'm being blasted about it.
Right.
Do we need, you said the other agencies, do we need their input first before we do?
No.
We do not. But they might come in and say, well, no, that.
They might.
It doesn't matter.
No, because what happens is you do the initial draft, get everybody's comments, and you come up with a final draft. Okay? The final draft will have the agency comments. Whether it conflicts with other goals and things, that's what we'll have to see if there's a problem or conflict. And we will take all comments from everybody, but I just want to say this very clearly. We will take all comments. We will review all comments. Not every single comment is going to be incorporated into the comp plan.
Yeah.
Just, because you all are gonna have to make some decisions on some things, where you're gonna have to decide one way or the other for whatever reason. And it doesn't mean that it can't be revisited in the future or something like that. It just means that at that time, this is the draft we're going forward with. Because there are always people that we're government. There's never a decision we're going to make that somebody isn't on some side of it that's gonna be unhappy with it. It's just how it is. The question is, have you tried to incorporate all of the comments as best you could? And what I mean by that is, if you get a comment that says, I don't want to see any growth in this town, that's not a constructive comment. That doesn't do anything. It's an opinion. That's great. That's wonderful. But we have to adopt a comprehensive plan for the land that is within our municipal boundaries. We're required to do that by law. Trying to follow the rules, that just, nothing isn't going to work. Now, a comment that says, I believe we have too much general commercial. I think that we should reduce our general commercial, or I think there's way too much high density residential. I think this should be lowered down to single family homes would be a better thing. That's a completely different discussion that you're gonna have if somebody makes that request. But again, you have to filter through those. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You have to filter through all the requests and combine them all together and then say, hey, this is gonna be the final picture.
So I think to Rachel's point, I think we should allow citizen comments as we work through the agenda, just like we did last time. Not wait to the end, because I think that was too much going back and forth. I think they present the objective, the learning goals. We say, are we good? And then we move on. That's kind of how the battle rhythm fleshed out last time, and it worked well.
Okay, thank you.
But then when you get to the end, then I think order of next steps, because that's going to be the complete version from our perspective. And then the next step is going to be getting the feedback from the other bodies of the town, get those incorporated, right? And then you got the external bodies, state, county, and then it's then done in a draft form. Then it gets presented formally to the town.
It will take at least 30 to 90 days for the state agencies to do their review, at least, okay? During that time, we should be doing our public input outreach at the same time.
So
Concurrently. That way we get their comments, we get the residents' comments, we sit down and come back with a final draft, explain to you how we took all these different comments, how we merged them or how we incorporated them in here. Hey, we've got a couple of decisions. What do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about this?
And your public outreach includes emergency services.
I consider them agencies. So
Right.
people like the Boonesboro Fire Company, the ambulance, I'm going to give them a direct copy and ask for their direct comments because they provide a public service for safety.
So all that's clear, I think, the exception of what's the rollout look like to the residents in its final draft stage to get the last round of comments. Do we post it? Do we have a special meeting?
That's what we're gonna talk about.
Well, the mayor, you all yourselves, to adopt the plan, are going to have to hold a public hearing. Okay, that's the end result, is the public hearing to take the comments. At that point in the process, you've got a final draft that you're all in agreement with. And that's really gonna be the opportunity for people that don't like it or want things changed at the last minute. They're gonna come in and make things that they're gonna request. The question that I have is, do you want to hold public meetings and make the offer as we've done for the planning commission to the residents? I'm happy to do it, doesn't matter.
In previous experience, that's what has been done in situations like this, or in my experience. Then it's a presentation and a night, and then it's another presentation and a night to give the town a clear opportunity over a period of time to respond.
I would say realistically, if you wanted to say, so you're covered for. If you did 2 a month for 2 months, 2 public presentations. You're taking comment and you're making the presentation of the draft.
With some repetition in there, you're saying?
It's all repetition. It's the same thing every time.
Every time so that other people can come, they're hearing the same thing, it's not changing. The presentation would be the presentation of the draft and to take comments. Not to answer questions, just to say, answer questions on how did we get to that number, yes. Why did we do this? This is why. Why did you do this? This is why. We answered those questions. But it's more to say, here's the draft, answer questions, and then take comments from what they have.
How are we presenting the draft?
That's what we have to figure out.
Like a PowerPoint presentation is what I would do, is I would put together a PowerPoint presentation that you all would review and say, this is okay, this is what we want. Have a couple of the primary maps, you know, have a couple of things, and then just have the plan itself. If somebody has, question about a specific section, we can go to that section.
So a 50,000 foot overview, because I'm not gonna do a page turn. Okay.
You can't,
Right.
you can't.
And that's what you posted for people reading the program.
Okay.
I think it's a PowerPoint presentation that you can go through in 20 or 30 minutes. It gives the overview, the process, here are the elements of the plan, here's where the numbers shake out water-wise, here's where they shake out sewer-wise. What questions? And then you're gonna get a lot of whys. Why this, why that? And, comp plans are a lot about explaining history. I hate that they, why is it this way? Well, don't know why, but this is what happened back in 2006, 2007, or something like that.
And using history to plan the future.
It would be nice to bullet point the questions that are asked initially, so that we don't get the same questions in the second and third.
That's a good idea.
For Dan to actually get that, they're actually.
That's a really good idea.
That's a typical conference approach. That's good.
So something Dave said a couple of paragraphs ago there, I thought that was well said. There's kind of 2 overarching themes as I read through your comp plan. One of them, it keeps talking about public input, and we talked about that, right? And the other one is, it talks about smart growth management regulations. There's all kinds of little pieces about that in there. And I noticed they have a definition in there for affordable housing, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm going down a rabbit hole I shouldn't, but why can't we define or come up with a smart growth regulation? Is that part of the comp plan or is that not? And this is probably not the right time to discuss it, but they mention this all throughout the comp plan, but it's just words and we have no way to measure it.
Well, one of the things I brought up at the last thing, and I highlighted it in here and asked them to look into it. So was the smart growth, because
We have to say sustainable growth now. Because right there.
well, I brought that up,
Yeah,
that something had
Maryland.
changed.
Maryland, we use sustainable growth now. Yeah, we
Here's-
make ourselves look.
So I brought that up because I think when they initially got this, they were working on this prior to the change that I think happened in July. Because now these categories per Maryland's website are called something different. So I asked them to look at this and compare and see if we need to make some adjustments so that we align with this. We might not need to because we started this. I have no idea. That's their wheelhouse. But I did ask them to link to this website for further explanation and even maybe put a screenshot in like the end of it, because I had to go Google it. And if you don't know what you're looking for, who knows where you're going to end up. But most of that is already defined to some degree.
Well, I know the first meeting, the young lady said, a slow rate of growth, I think was her exact quote, and I said, well, what's that?
That is likely not defined. So it looks like they changed it from planning visions to planning principles. That was one of the changes, and there's 7 now, I think, not 10. I don't know, but they should have a comment because it's something I brought up to them about putting in here.
When Glenn Denny came out with it, it was called something, then somebody came in, called it smart growth, and every time the administration changed, it changed.
The only thing I'm trying to say is it's mentioned all throughout the draft, and there's just a bunch of words that are left up for someone to interpret. and they need to be defined.
Well, but again, this is the plan. This is the roadmap. We can come back and define the plan, define what that is.
That's fine.
So that, right, that, the comp plan is where you want to go. It's not the answers of how you got there. It's where you want to go. And to go there, I agree. I think we need to, there's a lot of holes that we've uncovered that we've got to put some more meat around.
And again, it specifically talks about growth management regulation, and that's where you're going to be.
Right. We need to develop what that means.
We certainly do.
Right. But I don't think it's going to make it in the comp plan.
And I guess that's typical or not typical.
It sounds like it's,
That's very typical. The comp plan drives changes to your zoning ordinances. It's usually how it works. You come up with a new comp plan with new things, blah, blah, blah. You go in, you change some of your ordinances, update them, et cetera. I usually see it done.
So you're gonna come up with something better on the town website?
Yep.
And an agenda,
And an agenda.
and.
It will be an agenda and a statement.
minutes.
And as your public comment person, right, I greatly appreciated the opportunity in the back and forth. I think that was, from my perspective, sitting here, it was good to get the clarity. Because like you said, people are gonna make interpretations. If you don't know, being able to ask the questions, right? And I agree, we gotta keep the people focused to what's at hand. It's, in my view, it's a vision for what you're trying to do. It's the 30,000 foot view. Here's the overview. Then it's, once you get that done, then you go back and do it. Right. And that's, I'll try to help and, keep it to that as, because, the color of the building or the flowers that are painted.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
oh.
You didn't lock the door, Harry.
No, I didn't want to go into it, but I knew that was going to happen and I squashed that because I didn't want the whole meeting to be derailed. So I think once that got resolved, it was a very, very productive meeting.
It is still nice in a small town. You can have that interaction and still do that here.
Right.
Problem is when you get to county size or get to be a big city, you can't.
Right.
It's not useful.
Too big.
It's too big.
Well, and then one other and it's, you can see how it's all gonna play forward too, right? In the last Verdant meeting, right, they're quoting some stuff coming out of that. And if it's not right, I think that's the other part. We gotta make sure it's right and accurate. If that's gonna be the guide, then that's gonna have to be the guide, right? That we use, that somebody can go to and say, it's the only data you have unless you start doing research, and who knows what you'll find. So use that, here's the guide, this is what we're using, and let's go from there.
I know some of us, I think Eric had probably the most. Did you get your comments genned up or shared?
I sent my comments to Drew.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw some.
And
Was that all of them?
CC you? Yeah, I think I've seen all that I had.
Okay. Because that's the other thing, is make sure that we've given all of our written comments to the consultant.
Now, I can't speak if he gave it to the consultant, but I gave it to him.
And I agree with you. I think, Eric, let's find out what their interpretation is on those order of events, next steps, and
Yeah, I can't.
chronological, but it sounds like we
I
have.
think they're doing a good job, and we're paying them good money.
Yeah.
So help us, what are your best practices?
They've been through more than I have.
Oh, yeah.
Any other comments on the comp plan as of right now? Again, it's Monday the 3rd, 6 PM. I'm out of town.
Oh, no.
So, in Mobile, Alabama. So,
Tell you,
everybody,
You're lucky, because I go out of town on the 4th.
well, I sent Tina a message the next day because I think I saw Drew or something. Nobody had heard from you. And I was like, it's not like JR to not come and not let anybody know. He was like, he didn't even know. And I was like, oh, yeah, he wasn't at the last meeting.
well, I wasn't supposed to be here. This meeting got canceled, so I'll be here. Well, that's true. So, all right. Hearing no other further comments as of right now on the comp plan, let's move over to full business, planning commission bylaws.
Guys have been talking about a couple of different changes, a couple of different things. Just waiting for some direction as to what you all want to do.
So since we last met, I approached, so Travis is on the line, I think still. Travis has expressed an interest in continuing the role of a planning commission member. However, we now understand that his work commitments, which are a priority, have him out of the area. It has had him out of the area significantly and will continue to have him out of the area significantly. But it's not permanent, right, Travis? So at some point you'll be able to come back and hopefully be able to re-engage. We do have him on the line now, so he's still participating, which he still gets credit. But he also has said that if it's an issue and we feel that he needs to step down to fill it with somebody who's more committed, I'm not sure we're gonna find somebody more committed, but somebody who's more available, then we can talk about that. The bylaws say he can, or that person can be removed, it doesn't say have to be removed if they don't meet the requirements of the planning commission members. I did speak to Steve after the last meeting, because Steve has made some rumbling comments that he'll stay as long as we want him to, but if we want him to go, he'll go. So he's almost like he's done, but he's here for a vote if we want his vote.
He doesn't want to leave y'all hanging.
So there is a position that we can fill right now and still keep Travis.
Well, I have a question about that. So I highlighted this in the bylaws. It says that we will have 7 members, one of whom may be a member of the local legislative body. So is Eric a member or
Yes,
not a
yes,
member?
Yes.
Then we have 1 extra right now.
Well, not with Steve out.
Correct, I'm just saying,
We're full.
if Eric is a member and Steve leaves, then yes, we are full because that's 7.
He is a member of the planning.
Okay.
And if he wanted to stay, we would have either had
We're
to
gonna have to
amend
figure out.
the bylaws.
Well, it says, again, for me, it says may be a member. So if Steve wanted to stay,
Well, I guess
I would not be a member.
that's why I was asking for clarification here.
He gets a vote on all items that the planning commission votes on,
Okay,
except
okay.
those that go to the mayor and council for a final vote.
Does it say
It
that?
doesn't
in
say
the
that.
bylaws?
It doesn't say that
That's
in
legally in
these
Maryland state law.
bylaws.
We should put it in the.
Yeah,
We should put it in bylaws.
Would be conflict of interest, probably. If he voted
Oh,
to
yeah.
go or not to
Absolutely.
go.
Well, and that's why I needed clarification, because I was like, is Eric just hanging out, or do we have 8 members?
Let me put a statement in there about voting.
Right, so what happened? Steve's out, Steve's gone, he's done, he's happy, he's fine. We didn't push him out, we didn't fire him, he didn't get punished, he said, I'll step down, no problem. So now we're back to a full,
I have one other
Commission.
suggestion, though. So when I was working with the planning commission in Brunswick, they had an alternate.
Yeah.
Meaning they had somebody that was available if somebody couldn't make it, if needed.
State law allows you to have an alternate and a temporary alternate.
So I don't know if maybe we want to tell Steve to stay on as an alternate until we find somebody else as an alternate, if he's just like wishy-washy, you know what I mean?
So with 6 people, if Eric can't vote because it's something going to the council, where's the tiebreaker?
I get 2 votes.
These are the things we've dealt with in the past. Just let them highlight it.
and we talked about that.
There is no tiebreak if Eric's a voting member and he can't vote because it's gonna go to the council because he is the
I
seat
get
of
it.
the council.
Well, that's why I wanted some clarification on this, because I was like, I don't actually understand what's happening here.
Well, a tie is a no vote. If
Okay,
you have a tie, the motion doesn't pass, which
Okay.
means it doesn't get approved. So
Unless we pick with somebody else.
Is that
Then it
Robert's
can
rule?
pass.
Robert's rule.
But we can amend the bylaws and add the odd person back. He's done, he doesn't want to
Yeah.
come back. We can add the odd person back in to eliminate that, if there's a desire for us to continue to, I guess, expand the commission.
Well, let me.
While there's a break in the
I forgot he was here.
My situation, yeah. So I had a couple of hotels added, one in Phoenix, one in San Antonio. And so for the next, probably, 30 to 45 days, I have to go visit those hotels. I have to be a part of those hotels sort of operation, just kind of understand and learn what kind of things they're dealing with. So, probably in the next 30 to 45 days, my travel schedule evens out to be a little bit more available. And I always try to be, if I do need to travel, I try to avoid the last Tuesday of the month, if at all possible. Sometimes, somebody throws a meeting on the calendar and I can't avoid it out of town. But my guess is that it'll be another 30, 45 days before things calm down with my travel schedule and I get back to normal. And, frankly, as long as you guys are okay with me being the voice of God here in the room, I'm completely okay with joining from Phoenix or San Antonio or Nashville or wherever I am. As long as you guys are okay with that, I'll leave it up to you. I'm fine either way. Would love to continue on because, I think it's a valuable service to the community and I'm happy to do it. So I'll leave it up to you guys.
Do we need to vote whether we want to keep Travis on or not, or we're good,
I
right?
think that a vote would only be required if we wanted to remove him, and I don't personally want to remove him.
So Travis, you're good. Travis, you're good. So
I do kind of, if he keeps talking about warm weather areas, he's busy. We may vote you out, Travis, just saying. But
Sometimes I'll be in Orlando.
You can stay only if we each get a free Friday night in one hotel.
But I'm gonna make the recommendation that we do add the extra spot. Because,
That's an alternate.
or whatever you wanna call it, it could be a full spot, because we're gonna have to amend the rentals anyway. It could go back up to one more, whatever the number was, or is, add one to that number.
Well, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem though, because then we end up with 8, and if Eric is voting, we still could end up with a tie.
We don't know. It doesn't pass.
Well, no, but his whole point was that what if we end up with a tie?
No,
So
I get it, but that's still, I travel, you travel, he travels. I don't know, travel, so there's enough travelers
for work,
that for us to have a full commission, it's rare.
yes.
So that would give us extra bodies if we needed to vote.
Okay.
So, but that's my opinion. Anybody have any
Well, let me-
objection?
We're kind of mixing the Travis subject and that subject together, but a little bit, but back to Travis's for a minute, he's definitely a contributing member and we want to keep him. But where the charter talks about who is absent, if he's on line.
He's not
absent.
Correct.
So do we need some
We need to define
wording?
that.
Yeah, we need some wording in there.
That's what I put in here, is to update the wording for that as well as voting for the liaison.
Okay. Now, as far back to me then, where it talks about 7 members, the next paragraph, the term of each member shall be 5 years or until the member's successor takes office. What happens, so I've been the liaison, as JL was before me, for 3 years, almost 4. Suppose I run for reelection and I win another 4-year term. That means I would be your liaison for 8 years.
Not necessarily. Howard could reappoint somebody else.
He could, but
But why would he?
suppose he doesn't, or, so does that mean that I can't continue? I don't know.
I don't think it means that unless it explicitly says no more than so many terms.
Well, it says until the member's successor takes office, I could be my own successor.
Yeah.
There you go. That's good.
I just don't want to get us caught in something,
Well, that's why I was curious about this too, just with all the scrutiny, I thought we should at least be following our bylaws and they should make sense.
Can we consider putting in something that says, when you're traveling, if you are able to join,
I put
then
that
please
video
do
attendance.
join and, okay. But what are the parameters for that too? See, I always try to think ahead, not just for right now. What if we do have a member that decides they're just gonna start showing up only online? Do we have to put any parameters around that.
Say, in the cases where people are traveling and there is no other alternative, video conferencing is allowed or something. like
Uh-huh.
that.
Well,
I mean, because honestly, we had it during COVID, right? People would be home kind of sick and they'd still be attending
Well,
virtually.
This makes me like last week, I totally would have attended last week. I would have been at least online to hear what was going on. I couldn't come into the workshop because you guys weren't good. But if I would have known that, I would have been online.
If anything, I think the bylaw should say attendance in person is required unless you are traveling and or sick and need to call it in.
You
We're
can
gonna-
call it awesome.
And nobody's, I don't think anybody's gonna take advantage of it and call it in perpetuity. Because we'll say, hey, Jackie, you're not sick, I saw
I
you.
drove You can see my big red truck.
Not to go against your wording there, but if I'm away at the beach for a week, I'm traveling, I'm not sick, I'm on vacation, but I can still attend.
Sure.
They're traveling,
Right?
sure,
So,
even if it's for pleasure.
Just not the speedo though. You gotta have, you gotta have
yeah.
full
But
on
yeah,
truck.
I think I'm trying to- If I think I've been involved in about every involved in, and I just don't want us to be stuck with something.
Uh-huh.
If you're on vacation,
Agreed.
if you're on vacation, I don't expect you to call in. I mean, because you can miss up to, I don't know what the number is, you can
Right.
miss some. And it doesn't say you have to be removed. If you meet that threshold, it says you can be removed. So it's not a requirement that you get kicked off, especially if you're a meaningful member. So don't call in. Don't call in if you're in
I'll
Italy
be
or.
honest with you, the last meeting, other than the workshop, I didn't really know. The previous meeting that I missed, I could have took from the car. I do it all the time with, Bluetooth and stuff. And probably wouldn't have had to miss, but I had to get parts back. So, I think it's a great option to have for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think it'll keep attendance up, whether it's virtual or in person.
Yeah.
Because the whole purpose of having the numbers is to make meaningful votes. We don't want to keep pushing off votes. And as we get more busier, we need to keep things moving. So are there any other areas of the bylaws that we need to look at?
Change the time from 7 to 6.
Oh, right.
It still says 7.
Of course, we have the names on the front page. So,
The other area that I did highlight was officers, because I've been on the commission almost 3 years and we haven't had a vote on anything. I didn't even know we were supposed to have a secretary that's supposed to be taking the minutes.
well, we need to change that.
Yeah.
I'm the secretary, I guess.
Well, now it is, but you know what I mean? Like, I was just looking through it. Do we even need to have a secretary listed in here anymore? If he is taking,
That's something that we had to get away from on commissions because the volunteer who was filling in as secretary was not really taking adequate notes.
got it.
So that's why we kind of started appointing staff to do it.
Oh, no, I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm just saying.
You
if
weren't
he's here now-
volunteering?
No, trust me, I'm not your girl.
Yeah, I think that needs to be removed.
If you guys use your Teams, do you have Copilot on the Teams meeting?
Yeah.
You use the AI?
I know, that's all, I only take notes with AI, it's amazing.
If you have the ability to do a Teams meeting and turn on Copilot and ask it to do whatever after that meeting, summarize, transcribe everything, it's amazing what it'll do. So,
You have a job now.
There you go, that's fine.
well, you're gonna have an assistant now. Your Copilot's the assistant secretary.
There you
Makes
go.
life easier.
I had a couple other things, Chairman, I highlighted here.
On the bylaws, go ahead.
Yes, just for weakness, I guess. On page 3, section 4, it says vacancies in office shall be filled by the adopted election procedure. Well, what is the adopted election procedure? I didn't see that was defined in here anywhere either.
Well, I think it answers that in section 3 right above it, doesn't it?
If we want to take it that way,
That's how I took it.
okay. Then we should just say that, as outlined in section 3 above.
Okay,
See what I'm talking about, Drew?
Mhm.
Okay. And Scott already mentioned about the 7 PM versus 6 PM. On the next page, I got kind of laugh out of this. Article 7, order of business, it has all the things outlined, then down here under adjourn, talks about a motion from the floor, blah, 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 to dispense with or add in, not even to the agenda. Well, it never says up above that we need to have an agenda.
Okay. Well, yeah, but Robert's rules still
Well-
require it, but yeah, I guess it's applied.
And last, and then I'll be quiet, on page 5, section 3, it talks about the matter before the commission shall be presented in summary by a member of the commission or staff designated by the chairman. And parties in interest shall have the privilege of the floor. Does that mean to say for 3 minutes? Or not? Or is that talking about a member of the commission? That's not talking about public input? How long do they get the privilege of the floor for?
To make the presentation.
Right.
So typically, when you have a public hearing, you have a staff report that usually takes 20 or 30 minutes, and then you open it up to comments. The comments are usually limited to 3 to 5 minutes or something like that. depending
But
on
that
the
paragraph is about presenting the
size.
information.
That's how I read that.
That's how I read it as well.
It's not public, yeah, I'm not seeing it public.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to prove to Drew that I read it.
I got a long list. I will retype and redraft it. Thank you for your comments. What I was waiting on.
Are you gonna retype it and redraft it, or is he? Or AI. He said or AI. I thought he said Jorge too. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but cool.
And this is the current one, yeah, there was 2 versions.
That's what I thought you said.
Any other comments on the planning commission bylaws?
What did we decide on the 7 members versus 8 versus the alternate?
I'm going to put in, add a temporary alternate is where I had.
Do we want to have an alternate, or do we want to add a full-blown member?
I thought you said full-blown member, and we all said yes.
Can't do that. There's only so many members of a planning commission you can have that's established by state law.
That's
You
what.
can then, you can have a temporary alternate,
Mhm.
which would be a total of 8, but that person wouldn't vote if everybody's
If
here.
everybody's here.
Yeah.
They can come anytime, they
Yeah.
can be here, they should.
Seems to me the alternate is sitting right behind.
When I was an alternate, I still went to the meetings, even if everybody else was there, even if I want to know what's happening. I don't want to like show up and be like, hey.
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
So there will be 7, we're saying, and an alternate that is 8.
And it would be probably be a good idea if that person did come to every meeting, because if
That's
it's
what
something.
you're doing.
Well, I think we should can we retitle the name alternate? The alternate means
Yeah.
I'm not in play. If you want them in play, they just can't vote.
Well, Dave, I'll say this, Mr. Chair, the Booniesburg Keysville Water Board has an alternate. I'm one of them, but I do it every meeting. Because how can you possibly go to vote in someone's absence if you're not?
I know.
I would say that the bylaws still apply to them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if we want them to be an alternate, they still need to have the same record of attendance, but
Right?
they're only going to be able to vote in certain instances, right? If there's a member
What-
that's absent.
What happens
Right.
if Dave buys a business in town and needs to have something handled? He can't vote.
That's what I
Conflict
mean,
of
or
interest,
if,
we
for
bring in the
example,
alternate.
Eric can't vote,
Right.
like, they step
But we're
in.
not bringing in the alternate. The alternate should be here.
But that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
but that means you would step away from the vote.
Got
He would be the voting.
Got it. Okay. So leaving the title as alternate.
Yeah, so really, I mean, what would the other type, even if you call it a substitute, call them a substitute, that makes it sound like they shouldn't come either, but.
I think whoever it is, as long as it's made clear that their attendance is supposed to be the same as any
They
other.
still follow the
And
bylaws.
Yeah.
And most alternates, they are allowed to participate in all the discussion
Yeah.
Yeah.
and contribute and everything else.
You would
They
want them
just,
to.
They just don't, when there's a full board, they just don't vote on the final issue, but they can direct a lot of the discussion.
And does the alternate get paid for attending every meeting?
That's up to the council.
Well, geez, it's here, they-
I'm sure we can afford that.
For $50.
$50.
You got a raise.
We already budgeted for Steve to be here for the rest of the year, so you're covered for that position.
So clarifying, Steve will be replaced and an alternate.
No,
No,
Steve was the excess.
he was the excess. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. See, now I'm getting
You're
confused.
me, how we're talking about.
This is getting totally confused.
So we're searching
He
for
has
an
been.
alternate.
We need an alternate, yes.
So to add on to your workload, I think that you need to establish the qualifications.
I agree.
Because we are
100%.
seeing an influx of people being interested in serving as
Yes.
volunteers, which is fantastic for the right reasons. If they're volunteering just because they think we're doing everything wrong and they want to come in and change it, that's not helpful. But if they are, we just went through this for the BMUC. If they are somebody who actually has utilities experience and can contribute valuable information to the discussion, then that is very helpful.
So my comments to that, I agree. My comments to that is, are we talking about more than 10 people interested right now in the planning commission?
No.
Because I think we get the resumes and we review them.
I don't think we have anybody interested. I think we just
Well,
need to have written down qualifications.
We have multiple people interested.
Do we?
Yeah.
We
So,
just haven't had any.
so the process has always been, we get the resumes and we review them and then we decide who we want to bring in for interview.
What's wrong though with setting some parameters that we all follow, once we get those anyway?
How you gonna, I think you're gonna be, we all come from totally different walks of life.
Diverse, yeah.
There's not one commonality between all of us. That's gonna be the challenge. Why would we want to pigeonhole ourselves?
I don't disagree, but also, if we put some, maybe parameters isn't the word, but just a base.
Well, there
You
is,
should put something in there, somebody that has some land use experience. That's planning,
very
that's
broad.
real estate, that's,
Yeah,
you know.
and that could even be somebody that is a real estate investor,
no
owns
experience.
properties or.
So I
You
think
do
the
now.
attorney, Mr. Member,
But I know, I don't necessarily agree either, but how can you word this? Because it is so true. Well, think of who showed up. I mean, there's been some people accosting me saying, some pretty crazy things. I'm like, that's hilarious. You can say, you want to come on and just wreak havoc, they're negative.
But we'll see that. I think we'll see that in their resume, and then when we bring them in and we talk to them, we'll find out, are they a troublemaker? Or are they somebody that's going to provide value to the commission? And then we all will then vote on the short list.
Well, and providing value too is learning what you don't know either.
I think you need to have the interview questions more so than you do the qualifications. I think the people that you want to have come along that truly want to be involved is one
That's a good
thing,
point.
but if you don't interview them all the same way, the same questions,
That's a good point.
that's gonna really be the area that's gonna give you more guidance on where they are.
That's better. And then even the state gives questions to ask potential. The state gives all of
You
them.
just
It
have
wouldn't be fair
ChatGPT
not to
and
ask
give
every
you-
He'll give
interviewer the same
Act
question.
as the town planner of a.
It'll also tell you what smart growth is and all that stuff too.
so what I'll do is I'll send you guys the applications of the people that have been kind of waiting for a vacancy to open up. And then if you could maybe for the next meeting, start brainstorming some questions that would help you determine if the person's a good fit. Is that okay?
Agreed.
Well, we have questions for the BMUC and they could certainly be tabled to this commission.
Sure.
They could be, but I also think that it would be helpful for the actual planning commission members to come up with questions that they see would apply. But yeah, we can use the BMUC ones as a starting point.
I don't want to get locked down into formalized questions. If you guys want to ask them, fine, but I'm going to hear what they say and then ask some follow-up questions. So I want to see where it goes. You guys we can have some canned questions that come out of the gate. But to say that we can't ask more than that, I think is not the right way to go.
I don't think anybody said that.
Correct. And why change the process?
A couple of general canned questions, and then let's see where the dialogue goes and how the person conducts themselves.
Correct. Okay, good. Okay. New business. Planning information from State of Maryland Department of Planning. Zoning checkup guide.
This is information, this is something that Jackie sent out. And, we've been talking about the process, the different processes, and this is just sort of a good zoning checkup. This is more for information. Take a look at it. I asked you guys to look at a lot of stuff, but there's been a lot of questions coming up, different things. This is something from the state of Maryland that kind of gives you the purpose of Maryland zoning, and it's just kind of a refresher course. It also gives you some direction on some areas. Jackie, if you want to highlight some of the pieces in here, I know you sent it to me. But this came out of the comp plan meeting with people asking questions, people asking us, what's our process? What's everything going on? This is just sort of an overall view. And I know Jackie wanted to share it with you all, so I'll shut up.
You don't have to shut up. But that was, we're talking about holes, like Dave, you're saying, then we come back and make the holes. And our zoning ordinance is the hole that has to speak to the comprehensive plan and vice versa. So there's so much, I think, that we don't always know, because not that we're stupid, we're not stupid, we're all quite capable, but we don't know all the intricacies of zoning and how it informs sustainable growth. And really is the foundation of it. So I just went to the state of Maryland, and there's an entire course actually that we're supposed to take within the first 6 months of becoming
I
on
linked
the
to that
commission.
in
And
the
it's
last
awesome.
email.
Yeah, it's super awesome. I mean, but it just explains really the backbone of a municipality or a city, whatever, and zoning, and how everything that grows and we plan for is birthed out of that. I think it's really valuable information for all of us to have, so that when we are attending these meetings, what is Verdant really saying about a floating zone? What does that mean for current zoning? What really is happening in an annexation plan when they say this? How does that speak to, our plan for subdivisions? And our zoning just concerns me because we have the zoning bones, then we have all these resolutions. And so really you read the zoning, you're like, but is that really the fact? Or was there a resolution that was made, And that scares me for us, for the Verdant, period. When we get their plan, how are we really gonna look at that plan? If our zoning, we're not quite sure what it is. So I want to be as knowledgeable as we possibly can as a team, and really be able to give good feedback on Verdant, because they're not going to be the first one. They're not going to be the last one. They're going to keep coming. Found this super useful.
It's got a lot of good examples.
It does.
It's got a lot of good examples, and quite frankly, for those residents that are interested in knowing more about zoning, this is jumping in the deep end. I mean, you'll get it, you'll start to get a feel for it. And zoning code, guys, it's like reading stereo instruction, you just gotta do it a lot. After you read it a lot, it starts to make a little bit of sense. But it is hard to read zoning when it first comes out. It just is.
And it
It's an
is deep,
awkward
but we have to
concept.
be deep. We really have to be deep into what Verdant is saying to us and any other person that comes. Or like with Dean, this discussion we're having about McDonald's, that's awesome, but that's all a part of understanding the zoning too.
So this is information for the commission. No action item on this, but it's just good information. It has some links, some other stuff that's in there. So feel free to take a look at that. Use it as a reference thing.
It's an extra tool in your toolbox.
Toolbox, and one that's there for the residents to see as well in case they want to avail themselves of the site.
Jackie mentioned it. Where do we stand with the zoning and all use that term,
The codification.
codification, where do we stand with that? Wait, what?
I'll tell you. Well, codification. We have we forwarded to the town attorney the draft codification. Yeah, so it's in our attorney's hands. There's a legal review and a code.
So it's done draft wise.
When did it get to the lawyer?
This came in July. I'm not sure when it went to the lawyer, but I know the lawyers had a lot of things that they've been working on. With a higher priority, but I don't know. I'll ask Rachel tomorrow. and find out where we are.
Didn't Roger send us an update that it was, in September? He said that he turned the files of the Boonesboro Code over to their editors for proof preparation.
I'm just looking at a quick email. That may be the case. I'm not sure. I'll check in the morning and find out. But it's drafted. I know that. I have a copy.
Who's our lawyer?
Leslie Todd. Bulldog.
I know.
He's a bulldog.
Awesome.
Very good.
No other new business to discuss? Planning and zoning updates.
Have staff reports. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Hearing no questions. Citizen comments.
Keep doing what you're doing. We got a job there, but not many others want.
Are
So.
you one of the people that applied?
No.
And why?
Why?
Well, I can't meet your qualifications. I don't have any zoning that. Well, that was gonna be my
We said we
comment.
weren't doing that.
Well, that's the
And,
one
and,
thing.
and that's exactly why I think
Exactly.
that's probably not a great idea. Because you'll get some really smart people with zoning that are complete, not people you want to work with. And then you're gonna get some really intelligent people that'll work with you and understand the process that would be eliminated with a lot of the time. So this is.
And Anita probably knows more about zoning than any other resident in town.
If
Yeah,
she
you guys are
doesn't,
right.
she's
That
gotta be
would-
sleeping
that
with
would-
her eyes open.
that would-
She's here all the time.
That would put us in the corner a lot. You're right.
All right,
Good
here,
questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a couple of things to add.
Sure.
I know that there's not an option for staff comments, but
He said stuff like that.
at the
You're
council,
public tonight.
at the council workshop last night, we had someone from the county come and present on historic structures tax credit that is open. She's had a couple people reach out from Boonesboro asking if it is offered, so that was why she sent us a draft MOU that we could enter into that would allow Boonesboro to be covered in this program. And the council just wanted you guys to be aware of it. She had a whole PowerPoint that I can send to you, but the bottom line is that if we apply it to what's already been established as like the historic area, you don't have to do anything different unless you want to apply for the tax credit for what you're doing. So
Voluntary.
yes, anybody who lives on a right of way like Main Street, Potomac Street, if you want to take advantage of this, then there's like an application you fill out, you contact the county and do it. But if you don't want to be limited in how you make, do things differently to the front of your house or whatever, you don't have to follow it just because you're in that historic area. It's just an option for you.
So it's like the National Historical Registry or something.
That's what it is.
That's what we're already
Okay.
in. Yeah,
Right.
so if you
So
live
it's the
in
same.
that area,
Right.
then you would qualify for it. You just have to apply for it.
and we talked about last week, we don't want to set a district.
Right, and that's not what this does.
Right, so this still gives that freedom of the owner to do what they want to do. It
Yes.
just gives them another way to get some additional funding.
Yes.
So it really doesn't impact this body at all.
Right, and what it is it's a discount on the increased revenue of the cost. So you have a house, it's $200,000, put a $100,000 addition on, your new tax rate is $300,000. If you have this, what it does is that it can say, hey, your taxes will be reduced. We're not going to reflect the full amount and phase it in over a period of time. That's one way.
and it's only your county taxes are affected. It doesn't affect town taxes. I think the council wanted you guys to be aware, just because it has to do with zoning slightly. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up, Jackie had mentioned that as she's seeing an increasing number of people reaching out to her with questions, she questioned if we could have planning commission emails for you guys so that you weren't using your personal emails. This has been done with the EDC and with the community garden, and while it has its advantages, the feedback I've gotten from people is that it's just annoying to have to check multiple
Extra
inboxes. So I told her I'd bring it up to you guys. If you want to have a planning commission email, we can do that. But I didn't want you guys to be stuck with that if you didn't.
I don't want one.
What?
I don't want one.
Okay.
I see the disadvantage of not having one, but I don't see the advantage of having one.
Right, like I don't want to check an extra email yet. We shouldn't be sending emails from our own personal businesses that have signature lines. That's not appropriate. Nor if our personal emails, that's kind of slippery when it comes to legality too. So,
I mean, you don't have to make a decision
I'm middle of
tonight,
the road too.
but just something for you to be thinking about. I didn't know if you'd have strong feelings one way or another, if any of you had already been thinking that you wanted something like this.
Can't we do, doesn't G Suite, I mean, can't we do a G Suite and all have a Gmail?
I mean, I don't see why you couldn't.
You can create your own.
Well, yeah, you can create your own, but it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be uniform unless we all.
Here's my thought. My thought is no, my personal opinion. Because if somebody's got a comment, they should come to our meeting and stand up and give us their comments. Not just sit behind a keyboard and ramble and rattle and bash and whatever. What are we gonna do with that email once we get it?
Well, that's part of it. Like, we can't stop people from reaching out to us, and other cities and municipalities, that's still transparency. It's interaction with the townspeople.
That's why they should come to this.
But they
And they-
can't just come to the meetings, you know?
Well, but they can email the town planner or the town manager, and we do not give out your personal emails. That is not a practice that we have at all. If somebody has an issue, we can reach out for you.
And we're not elected bodies, we're volunteers.
Hopefully.
So anyway, you don't have to make a decision tonight. I just wanted to put it on your
I
radar.
mean, do we wanna have more of a dialogue? Does anybody have a personal opinion? Do you wanna think about it? or-
How, I guess then it's a bigger question, you know, how do we communicate with townspeople outside of this meeting? How would you like us?
The public notices that are required to go out.
That's not, that's,
We're not obligated to go talk to the town, the county.
I don't personally like individuals having conversation unless it's a, hey, I talked to Stuart, you should come to the meeting.
Right.
Because
Which is
you could be
100%
leading
what
someone
happens.
down a completely different path than what the rest of the council or commission wants or says, and that could be very negative for the. So I always refrained unless it was adding, like, well, even on the town council. If everybody's involved, it's fine, and you answer that way, but you don't really, you kind of interpret and say, okay, let's all answer it as one.
right, that's how it should be happening.
So, I don't answer them. I would forward it to Drew or whatever, and I don't want one person speaking for a body. I think that's difficult, unless it
100%
is
agree.
staff.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I get emails, texts, and phone calls from Dave. He gets questions from residents, and he wants to be able to answer them. Calls me, what's going on with this, what's the status, here's this, here's this, here's this. He does respond back. But, you know, if you guys are getting questions from residents, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I mean,
I just don't want written, when that's written.
Oh, yes.
It's different having a conversation saying, well, this is kind of one of the things going on, come to the meeting, you should learn more about it, than to write in there, well, this is the direction the town is in.
Right. Well, not only in writing, but being community members too. We have to be careful when we're out at dinner and we're talking about things too, because I've heard that too, and that's kind of scary, you know, but that happens. So if our protocol is to bring it to, you know, let me forward you to town planner or
I think that's the way we should do it.
I think that's
I'm
awesome.
a very good guy.
I think that's awesome.
You ask questions, I want you to say, and I respond back with your answers.
You give two options, either come to the open meetings and voice your opinion directly, or shoot an email.
No, these weren't even opinions. These
Well,
were,
just whatever,
these were straight
whatever,
up good questions.
whatever
You
the
know, Not
question-
everybody's an asshole.
whatever the question is.
Right. Or
Because-
egotistical, you know.
JR nailed it.
Men and women have egos.
Yeah, JR nailed it. We don't want to be out there
Right.
giving our, I mean, we can, I mean, a lot of this is, all this is public, so we can share with them what we discussed last week and what's the status of certain things. But that's all open public information, but. it was
That's what
your
I
opinion.
have done in the past, is if I've had to reply to somebody about the status of something, I've sent them the most recent agenda where we discussed it, or the most recent minutes, if they're approved and uploaded.
Aside from that, it's, hey, the tide's coming. Well, I'm hearing things are moving. That's about as far as I answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I'm hearing no, Rachel?
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Right. Thank you.
That came from Rachel. Rachel, any more comments?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Commission member comments?
I hear it, nothing?
I think I'm okay. Am I supposed to have something to say to God?
You always do, brother, I'm expecting it.
He's got
Count on it.
He thinks he's contemplating it. So I got a question and probably needs a dialogue. The political signs along Main Street. I know you've had back and forth with the owner. They, I use the word they, have manipulated and are trying to stay out of filing for a sign permit, right?
They've been sent a letter, they told to take the sign down, file for a sign permit, take the sign down until such time. That letter went out last week, I told Rachel, if they don't hear from her by tomorrow morning, I'll go knock on her door.
But wasn't the history that they had him on the fence? We said no, so she posted them free flowing, but she's now, and I've always said, it's a sign, you gotta get a permit. But it's all now gone political. Because they're political signs. Well, no, they're just signs. They're just signs.
Her issue is, we cannot regulate anything that is on the sign. We can only regulate the size of the sign and how it is mounted and displayed. That's it. That's all the zoning code has. And let's just be clear, the only thing I can do is issue her fines. I cannot take the sign physically down.
But she's got all the signs. You got them all together, I'm sure they exceed.
They do.
Yeah, well,
And that's what I told her. Take
she
the
might
sign
not
down.
have one.
And I told her, take the signs down. Please remove the sign. And if it is not done tomorrow morning, I don't hear from her. Now, every other letter I've sent her, she showed up here promptly the next day. So that's where we're headed. And if she doesn't take the sign down, then she'll start getting issued fines, daily fines, until it happens. The sign that she can put up can only be 14 square feet. That's more than what she has there right now. But 14 square feet is what she's allowed. And just so we're clear, she wants a fight with the town. She wants one. She's looking for one.
Well, she
About
she's
what?
made it political. She said,
She wants to elevate the situation and her political views through Facebook, through whatever, look what the town's doing. So I've handled this one with very kid gloves.
Mhm.
I followed the rules, followed the laws, but she wants an issue. I'm trying to avoid that. That is not gonna do anyone any good in any way, shape, or form, no matter which side.
but she should be told like every other resident, if you want to put a sign up, here's the parameters.
Just so we're clear, I sent them this thing about the signs. I also sent them the Sizzling Fajitas and Giovanni's, and their signs came off. Because they were mounted to the fences too.
Right.
I sent the letters to them as well. Their signs came down within 2 days.
So that's good.
Uniformity enforcement.
Yep, that's good documentation.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna tell her. When I go talk to her, is to say, hey, I sent the same letter to 2 other businesses. They addressed it immediately. Didn't say you couldn't have a sign.
Right.
Didn't say you can't have one, but you gotta follow the rules.
Or what it says on it.
Thank you for the update.
Sure.
Any other commission member comments?
Well, Steve's not here, how are we gonna end the meeting?
That's a way to adjourn. He doesn't, yeah, this door's open too, by the way, old chocolate. You ever see him in here, starts like, yeah, he gets hungry.
All right, except Ollie will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. 7:35. Next meeting is, Monday for the comp plan review. And then the next planning commission meeting is November 25th, which is Thanksgiving week at 6 PM. Generally, this is the time of year that things get pretty quiet. So we'll evaluate it. If there's no agenda, then we'll punt maybe
Don't we also close early that day?
on Tuesday.
No, wait, maybe it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Wednesday is the
It's the day before.
26th.
That's when we close.
Thursday is the 20th, so it's that Thursday.
There's not much on, so be it. I'll let you know. Travis, thank you very much. Hope you're not stuck in the airport all night.
I'm on the plane now.
Nice.
Safe travels, buddy.
Thank you, Travis.
Oh, man.